The future of humanity lies in the hands of our children, and we must ensure that they have the future they deserve. Greetings, dear TV friend of Divine Mercy Radio Television, and thanks for joining us on another edition of Women's Voice, a program where we come on board to talk about crucial issues affecting women, advocating for women, inspiring women, educating women, informing women about controversial issues in the society and how they can play a very vital role in ending, in preventing, in supporting some of these things that happen in our society. Today, as we join the world to commemorate the World Day Against Child Abuse, our child labor, I beg your pardon, we are here to talk about ways in which women, which ways can women play, or which role can women play in preventing child labor. We know it's a very crucial issue that affects our society today, affects our youth, affects our children, but then we tend to claim to give a deaf ear to these plights that our children have. So today we want to look at some of the roles women can play in preventing child labor. We know women or mothers, big sisters, wherever you are, any female guardian out there spends more time with the children, and they tend to know how they can easily manage these children. We know child labor has a variety. There is a lot when it comes to child labor, but we are here to look at some of those things concerning child labor, some of the roles women can play to prevent child labor. I'm not alone on set, of course. I have two very brilliant ladies here with me to share with me their insights on the ways they think or they feel we could handle this issue of child labor. I have here with me Nafisatu Isa. Nafisatu Isa is a special needs educator and also an advocate for persons with disability. Greetings, Nafisatu.
Greetings, Mom. Thank you very much.
You're very much welcome to DMR TV.
Thank you.
We also have with us Madame Dionne Sylvie, who is a worker at the delegation of regional delegation of social affairs, and of course she's also a mother, so she's going to be talking so much on how she thinks she could prevent her children from getting into child labor and everything that surrounds child labor. Greetings, ma'am, and thanks for joining us.
Greetings, Madeleine. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you people on set. And dear viewers, join us in our conversation today. If you have an input on what we're talking about, you could get us via the numbers on your screen, SMS or WhatsApp, and let us know what you think or your thoughts about our talking points or your opinion about what we're talking about. You could have a contrary opinion. That is why we are here for you to share your thoughts with us. We're going to begin straight away with Madame Dionne. Madame Dionne Mavis wants to find out from when we talk about child abuse. We know every child is allowed to do chores at home. You have things that you should do, responsibilities as a child. But when we talk of child abuse, what exactly are we talking about?
Thank you, Madeleine. When we talk of child labor, we mean any activity that the child does that affects the child. Yeah, we have activities like let me say any physical activities or any physical activity like a child carrying loads that is more than him or her, that affects the child health, that affects the child well-being, that affects the child's education. That is what we call child labor. But if the child does any of this activity that does not affect the child education or affects the child health or affect the child well-being, we don't call it as child labor, because at home we have, even when the child is born, the child cries. It's an activity that the child is doing. At a tender age, you give the child little choice that is equal to his or her age. We don't call that child labor. We don't call that child abuse. But when the activity is giving the child pain, it's training the child, it's retarding the child's growth. That is where we classify it as being child labor.
Okay, thank you very much. And Nafisatu, when you hear of child labor, what comes to your mind? What exactly do you think, or what exactly is our focus when we talk of child labor?
Well, from my own perspective, I see child labor to be an activity that deprives a child from being like any other child. Looking at the child's developmental age, if you deprive that child of doing something at that point, simply because you want that child to do something in particular, maybe carry out a task that that child is not of age of carrying, that is where child labor comes in. Now, speaking from my own background, where I come from, children with special needs, I really see child labor as some form of inhumane treatment when given to children with special needs. Reason being that if you have a child with special needs and on top of it you're maltreating that child, or maybe you're compelling that child to do something that he cannot do at the moment, then that is child labor, which is very barbaric, which is something we should fight against, especially towards children with disabilities. Already we know mental health is something that we are fighting nowadays. You see people advocating for it here and there. What's more of a child with a disability, and now child labor comes in, that is something I would say is double stress on that child. So what I'm saying is child labor is something we should put a stop to, even though we cannot completely wipe it out, because there's some communities we cannot even access. But I'm hoping that through programs like this and other methods, we can get to these families and educate them on the barbaric effect of child labor on children and children with special needs.
Okay.
That is how I see it, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much, Nafisat. So, and if there is something I want to add onto what you said, you're talking of children with special needs. You know, some of these parents, as I should put it, some of them feel like having children with special needs is already a burden upon them, and they feel like these children cannot assist them. Maybe you can have a child, a special needs child, or a child with disability, maybe an amputated arm, or her arm or his arm does not function well, and you're sending the child with two bottles, let me even say 2 bottles to fetch water. That's some form of child labor. And you know, some of these parents don't even want to, some of them will not even want you to interfere. That's why I think you people, the special needs educators, should try to always comfort these parents, if I should put it that way, because they themselves go through a lot. They are not willing to accept the gift the child has, because from my observation, I know children with special needs have special gifts. Like, they are called special, it means they are special in every form of it. So how do you people sensitize these parents against child labor?
Often we usually talk based on observations, because we cannot just draw conclusions from what we think is correct. Now, I'll take a scenario here in Boyatown. There's a child who always, in fact most of the time, you find him carrying water for people, you find him carrying loads of things, so many things that are even heavier than he can, but he's doing it. I usually feel, let me say, I feel that empathy, because the things he carries I cannot carry.
Of course.
Even my younger man cannot carry, but you find him doing it all the time. He's always,
and he's always just unbothered.
He knows nothing. Somebody will just come here, come and carry. He's carrying. I feel people are exploiting that child, and most often when I have the opportunity to talk to somebody who is giving that child a tax, I always tell them, you want to kill this child.
Of course.
This is not right. This child deserves to be treated as any other child, because some people are taking advantage of the fact that he has an intellectual disability.
That's right.
So they know that they can toy him around and toast him anyhow. They don't mind about that. But now, going back to the parents, sometimes I hold them accountable, because it's not like they are not aware. It's not like they cannot do something. But based on the fact that they see these children as burdens, they're careless. Some of them don't even know how these children spend their entire day.
That's right.
That is why you find so many of them suffering from child labor, violence, rape, and so much more that we cannot even tell right now. So my message to these parents is, you should be empowered as a woman in the first place. Then your role as a mother. Yes. You cannot have a child with special needs and you expect that child to do things on his own. No. That child needs support. That child needs to be grounded in an environment where even that child will know that if you force me to do something against my will, this is child labor. These children are not, let me say, very dull. In fact, they are not dull, because people assume that, no, if I give this child an instruction, the child will not get it. No, they learn. whatever they see or hear has an impact on them.
Okay.
So you as the mother, you can teach that child that if somebody forces you to carry a 20-liter gallon on your head, say no,
that's
I cannot.
right.
These little tips that you use as a mother to talk to your child matters a lot, because even when a child cannot talk, we have children with speech impairment,
Yes.
but you cannot force them to do something.
Of course, they have body
So in
language.
school, when you tell them, go and sit down, you sit down, you feel it that they don't want, they get what you are saying, they understand you, and they can communicate with you so well. So to the parents out there, I'm just pleading, you might not be an expert, and you don't need to become one before you cater for your child, but most importantly, always try to guide that child in as much as it's a burden, but you should remove that burden and turn it into something very wonderful. You enjoy the benefits afterwards.
Thank you very much. Okay, you want
A
to?
little addition to what she was saying. We have disability, like when a child is born in a family. Actually, when a woman is pregnant, everybody is expecting a bouncing baby girl, a bouncing baby boy. So when it happens that the child comes out with a disability, most often input the parent, the father will leave the woman with the child.
Yes,
We
that's
abandon
very
the
common.
ladies with the child. Now the child is the mother is a single mother taking care of a disabled child. It's a double burden to her now. Okay, at that stage, you the mother, you carry the burden. I would like to encourage all mothers that are having children with disability to accept that anything that God gives you, it means that you are capable and fit to carry.
Of course.
Disability is not inability. That child can be a minister tomorrow. I will take an example of a lecturer that we have. This man was born visually impaired. The father abandoned him with the mother. The mother struggled. A missionary came and they took the child from the mother. He's a breadwinner now in the family.
Can you imagine?
So from that testimony that you can see that these children with disability can become better people tomorrow, better, they can make family, because now that we are talking, the lecturer is married with kids and the kids are not visually impaired.
Good.
Disability is not hereditary.
Of course, it's
They
not.
have other abilities in them that when they portray it, they are more than us even.
They are.
They are more than
They
us. If you hear them speak, if you
That's
hear
it.
them do things, we have autism, we have doctors that are autistic,
Of
course, and they are doing well in the medicine field. So I just want to encourage all the mothers that have children with disability. Put yourself in that child's shoe, that if I can do this thing, that child also can do it. Most of the time we neglect those children. We don't send them to school.
Exactly.
We
They're
don't
always
give
the
them-
rejected ones at
They're always the
home.
rejected
They're always
ones.
left. No one takes out
Nobody-
time
no
to
one
take care of
takes care.
them. They don't even
Yeah.
take their
If
baths
you
and
put-
all of that.
That is it. If you put them in an activity and they concentrate, they will know it very well. They are good musicians that are disabled. They are good artists that are disabled. So let's put our effort, even the community, because it starts at home, not even the community. It starts at home. The rejection starts at home.
Okay.
Us, the parents, we have not accepted those children. How will the community accept them? How will the world see them? How will they look at themselves? Build the child esteem and then push the child up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Dionne. And if I could grab something from what you said, disability is not inability.
Exactly.
I
It's
think
not
that's
inability.
okay.
It's not inability.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
it's
So
not inability.
it's very important that we look at these children differently because they carry grace. I always say children with disability or special needs children, they carry a grace. The grace they carry, you and I cannot even afford it. So I always treat them very carefully because they are special people and they need that special care. You know, when you talk to them nicely, they are your best friends. But when you're hostile with them, it's a whole. So parents out there, please accept your children and take care of these children. So before we want to even talk about parents and all of that, we're hearing about child labor. Are there forms of child labor?
Exactly.
Of
we have
course,
so
there
many
are.
forms.
Okay, so maybe we want to talk about some of these forms of child labor.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity, ma'am. We all know that in our societies where we stay today, there are so many ways with which children undergo child labor.
Yeah.
For instance, I'll still go back to my children with special needs. When these parents see these children as burden to them, some of them send them out to go and beg. Yes, that is the worst thing that you can do to your child. But now they now see it from the perspective that this child is vulnerable. So whoever sees this child definitely is going to give him something. And you see some parents even sending these children out to beg to repay debts of the past. Yes, and they are depriving that child of education, which is another form of child labor. Because children cannot be going to school and you send your own child out there to go and beg so you'll be able to repay your debt or maybe provide food for the house. It is very exploitative on the part of that child. Another we find is they push these children to do chores that are beyond their capacity. You see children going to the farm, not to talk of even special needs children. Let me go back to the normal in quote. You see them going to the farm carrying heavy objects that they are not even supposed to carry. And some even go because they have been forced to do so, maybe by the person they're staying with or maybe a condition that made them to do that. So I think there are so many other forms, but while the discussion is ongoing, I think the next person should give more insight. Why?
Other forms like thank you, Nale. We have other forms like hawking. We send our children out to hawk in the streets, in the market. Like now we have holidays. If you go to Munya Market, for example, you will see children hawking. So young children of about 6, 7. So they are too young to be in that scenario. And when they are there like that, they learn the language of adults. They are being deprived of their childhood growth. They don't say things that children say, and they don't do things that children do. Like, let's take it for example, like now it's holidays, children in the house, they are playing with their peers. You are in the market playing with mothers and fathers that are selling. We also have working in the mines. We have children that are being sent to work to work in the mines, to work in plantation. Those are some of the forms of child labor. We also have let me say like parents that deal with timber. You have a young child of about 10 years, you are taking the child to the forest to carry your, they call it the saw, to go, and that saw alone is more than the child's width. So I'll end there for now, but as time goes on, the inspiration will come and we are going to see other forms.
The inspiration is definitely going to come. Thank you so much. And you talked of hawking. I think hawking is what is predominant now. You see children below, at times below 8 years old, they are hawking. If they're not hawking water, they're hawking fruits, tomatoes, like you said, pepper. Sometimes it even comes to the market, it's like you should put it in your eyes. And I just wonder, we're not saying that children should not help their parents. Of course, it is your responsibility as a child to assist your parents, but then it comes to another form when a mother lets their child out of home to hawk. Yes, children can hawk, it's normal, but then when it exceeds, maybe from one, that child is out from maybe 9 a.m. till a lot on that child, because even in school, if you are in school from maybe 7:30 till even 4 p.m., you have breaks, you have time where you could just sit in class and just take a brain rest, relax. But then most often these children will move from one place to the other. I see some of them moving from Boya Town to Checkpoint Moliko, and then parents don't even care. All they want is, I want the money. Whatever you go, wherever you go to, I want you to bring back the money. So how do we tell these parents that they are exposing these children to a lot of risk, be it health risks, be it, like you said, rape, violation and all that? How do we tell parents? What are you saying to parents today concerning this child labor they are exposing, that especially hawking? What is it that parents should know about hawking?
The first thing I'll say is, if they are aware of the dangers out there, then they may be more cautious when sending out these children to hawk. Now, take for instance down at OIC, the market is by the roadside. So many children have been hit by vehicles and they died on the spot in that same market. So if these parents can inform themselves, or maybe learn from somewhere, or maybe we tell them that these are the dangers that these your children are being exposed to. Aside from accidents, your girl child, they are exposed to rape.
Okay.
Some of them can even suffer violence while outside and you don't even know. Some of them will come back and they will not tell you that mommy, this is it, this is what happened.
Stigma.
Of course, they are scared to even open their mouth and
that's
tell you.
right.
So that child might be dying in silence without you knowing. So I'm calling out on all the parents. We must not know too much to help someone. With the little we know, we can use it to do something. Because I believe that if we come together, put together our resources, the knowledge we are gaining from school, from our neighborhood, from advocates, social workers, from all these people, we can now see that these children, we can teach them how to hawk in the market. We can educate them that this is it. You should be very cautious.
Yes.
And while sending these children, we should consider their age.
Of course.
You cannot send a child for 6 years old to sell water in the market. That is not business. It is child exploitation. I myself, I used to sell during my secondary days. It used to be so tiring. I'll come back with my feet swollen, but at least I was of age. But I cannot send my younger sister who is 10 years old to sell. It's not happening. That's not even realistic. Because the dangers out there are too much. Once they go out, you are exposing them. And like moderator said, these parents sometimes send these children without even being considerate, paying attention to the fact that this child has not come back to their home. Some will even stay till night before remembering that, hey, my child went out to sell. So please, parents, let's not relent. Let's not just sit back because we want money and send our children out there, that we are exposing them to the ills of society. Please let us rise up, empower these children. We know we all want business minds, yeah, that's true, but we can always do that in the right way. We can always do it in a way that it will not affect these children, neither is it going to affect you, the parents, but rather if there's any effect, that should be a positive one, I think.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear viewers, we're going to take on this break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with our conversation on breaking the cycle, the role of women in preventing child labor. See you soon. Welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, you're on to Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television. And today we join the world to celebrate the day put aside against child labor. On set today, we have three incredible women who have just been joined by another very, very vibrant woman in the society. That's Yuven Julia. Yuven Julia is a human rights advocate. She's into civil society, and of course she's also the founder of Center for Human Rights and Research and Advocacy. Greetings, ma'am, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Magdalene. Thank you, my dear sisters. Thank you, viewers, and we want to welcome you once again to have the voices of women in preventing child labor in our community.
Thank you so much for joining us. Before you came in, we have talked elaborately on so many things. We have talked on maybe forms of child labor, what child labor is, and also talking on how we could tell parents to be more conscious about their children. We also paying attention to special needs children or children with disability, not taking advantage of how they are or who they are, but then loving them and taking them as they are. So, Madam Yuven, I want to find out from you, what is it about child labor that does not sit right with you?
First of all, I want to believe that child labor is a form of exploitation to our children.
That's right.
And now, when we talk about child labor, it is those activities that prevent children from reaching their full potential. And it impacts negatively on their health, on their spirituality, on their mental well-being. and prevent their development as well. And we have the legal framework, which I'm just going to talk briefly about that, which talks about child labor and calls on all stakeholders, parents, communities to prevent involving children in child labor. For instance, we have the International Labor Organization, which talks about child labor, and it gives a particular age. It limits a particular age on which children should be involved in in some kind of employment or employability activities, and it limits this age to 14. When you look at the please permit me to read it according to how it's being stated. When we look at the International Labor Convention number 138, it gives the minimum age for child or children to be included in employment at 15 years. This means that if your child is not up to 15 years, you are not supposed to engage that particular child in some kind of remunerative activities. And unfortunately for many vulnerable communities, it is not respected. We understand the fact that many communities are experiencing poverty. For instance, we are living in a conflict-affected regions like the Northwest and the South, where conflict and displacement have placed many families vulnerable, and they are living even far beyond, the normal living standards. But now, taking your child to engage in some kind of activities. My dear sister was talking about children hockey, and when you look around, it's terrible. The other day I closed from work. I was coming back as late as 9 p.m. and I saw children of less than 10 years selling corn at my 17. And to them it's just normal. They are excited about it. And I asked myself, where are the parents of these children? What are they thinking about? What are they really thinking about? By this time of the night, we know how sexual violence has become so rampant. We know how some of these children have been negatively influenced by their peers. Some of them are engaged in drug addiction and a lot of that. What are the parents doing? What is our society doing to stop that? And I want to believe that sometimes it's due to ignorance. Why? Because parents just feel that yes, it's the children's it is an obligation for the children to respect their mothers, to help them at home. But we should have that limitation. It should be clearly defined. Yes, we understand parents are doing a lot, but it's not enough. It's not enough. So even the Cameroon Labor Code, it places age for children to be involved in in employment at 14 and 18 for hazardous activities. But now you see that before some children are even that 14, they are 15. Some of them are being, especially the girl, I'll pay more focus on the girl child. You see that children maybe 15, they are pregnant because they were involved. 14, they are pregnant because they were involved in hugging, and maybe along the line they were raped or they were led into coerced into sexual activities, of which at their vulnerable stage they cannot even help themselves.
Exactly.
They cannot help themselves. So I think this international day set aside to honor children, to respect the dignity and the rights of children is a call for parents, is a call for community leaders, is a call to brotherhood, is a call to sisterhood, to see how we can work together to put an end to child labor. It is an alarming situation. We have just gotten to holidays and it's not even up to 2 weeks. Corn, granite, fish pie, water, pepper, plums, everything. And before you know it, children learn a lot of negative things in the course of doing that. Why not involve your children in some kind of in some kind of activities that are going to, help them expose their potentials, expose their skills, rather than sending your children to hawk. It's better maybe you have a store or you are in the
Child
market
station
in the
there.
market place, and your child is there with you,
It's-
assisting you, than you sending your child to the public to hawk around. It is wrong, and parents should take note of this and stop exposing their children to risks. Some of them will even go just like what she was saying. They will be raped, they will be led into sex, but when they come back, they will not even speak out. So why not bring your children closer to you, help them to understand who they are, make them your good friends, so much such that when some of these negative things are happening, they'll be able to come, they'll have that confidence in their mother or in their father, daddy or mommy, this is what happened to me, I was going here and this happened. But when they are exposed, they meet other children who already know those things, and the multiplier effect is they are being influenced negatively.
That's right.
Yes. So I just want to believe that it is an important day that we should have a reflection and think otherwise and see how we can help our children grow in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Yuven. That was a very insightful package there for us. And of course, we want parents to be aware of the fact that we are not kicking against hawking. We are not kicking totally against hawking, but then we are looking at the age of these children and the awareness you create for your children. Some children are very, 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 very tough. When they are out hawking, they are out hawking. You don't have to call them into your house to buy from them. You can come to the road, they are on the road hawking. You can come, because some children are very, very smart. Once you start telling them to get into your house, they have
They want to-
a whole different notion about the whole thing, and they even feel uncomfortable even selling to you. Some will say, I will not sell anymore, just because of the orientation they also have. So parents should, mothers especially, talk to your children. Make a friendly environment. It's safe. You should be the safest space for your children. Mothers should be that. Those people that your child, even whatever she's going through, she can freely open up to you because you are her mother and you will understand her most. You're talking of how we could help children. I just want to find out from you, Madam Dione, what are stakeholders doing to ensure that we prevent child labor? In as much as we want to stop child labor, the most we can do for the moment is to prevent child labor. What is being done to see that we can prevent child labor?
All right, thank you very much, Madam Magdalene. Child labor is not a situation that should be handled by one person, of course. We have stakeholders that are coming together to handle it. Because if being left in the hands of the government or private individual or the parents, they will definitely fail. When it comes to the government aspect on how they see child labor, on how to protect, we have the Human Rights Convention that has been made and put into place, and we have ministries that are working towards that attainment of the goal. We also have international days that have been made that they use to sensitize children and parents on how to handle child labor.
Okay.
We just have the International Day of the African Child that is coming. For now, we have the week-long activity that started on Tuesday.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we are celebrating in Kumba. During this activity, during this program, our ministry, the Ministry of Social Affairs, sensitize parents on how to protect the child, on the right of children, on how to protect especially the girl child and those children living with disability. They will tell the children have the right to go to school. The children have the right to be sheltered. They have the right to be protected by their parents, by the community, by the government. When we talk about protection, what do we mean? At home, the child should feel that I'm safe. In the community, the child should feel that I'm safe.
Yeah.
The government should also create security measures to make the child to feel that he or she is safe. All right, we have let me say the government. We have government programs that at times we go to schools, we talk to the youth, we talk to children, that they should open up when we have a situation like that. Talking about the Anglophone crisis, that the socio-political crisis that we have, there are some children children that are not living with their parents. So they are being used.
Of course. I was
And
getting
there we tell the children should open up.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to the closest person that can help you come out from that situation. Some children are doing it. When you ask them, they are afraid to talk. They are scared to talk. But when we sensitize those children that when you are being exploited like that, you open up.
Sometimes
NGOs
the children will not also want to talk because they know the benefits they are getting. Maybe they say, no matter how I'm being treated at this place, is better than where I'm coming from.
Exactly.
So the children are also being threatened by the benefits they have. Maybe they are sleeping on a good bed, they have shelter over them, they are sure of food every day.
They don't know they don't know the after effect that is coming.
Exactly.
But when you sensitize them like that, they will tell you. They will come closer.
So it's
we have a
very
case at I think Campaign Street when a child had wounds on the back. The friend was playing. When the friend tapped the back, the child was scared, and then the child was shivering. So another parent saw the situation and said, "What is happening?" He said, "My back is paining. Let me see." They opened the back; it was full of wounds. No. So when they took the child out to the mother, we discovered that it's not the biological mother. The mother has been maltreating the child until the child is strong, is stunted. So when the community arise now, they were talking to the woman. She was making as if, I want to carry my child. My child is crying. The lady had a child of 6 months. They said, so you value that child more than this other child. So it became the community's problem, not now an individual's problem. That is where we are going to. Make the child, at that stage, after we did some follow-up, and then the child is fine now. She's still living in that same house, but she's been treated well because the community eyes is on her.
Exactly.
So let's put our heads together. Let's put even our resources together. As women, most of us, we are saying that we don't have money. That is why we are sending the children to the street. But if we put our heads together, and then we see your friend's child as my own child, I see your daughter as my own daughter, that daughter will not go astray, because immediately I see her going astray, I will take her. I will call your attention that this child is not going. When we were going, if my neighbor sees me with a boy, they will start beating me at the roadside.
They know so at times it's these parents that propagate these things.
Yes.
You might even want to get to a parent and you're like,
don't touch my
I don't
mom.
see her picking for
Who asks you?
Who put you as guard for my
exactly.
Some people too are scared. I don't want to get involved.
If you bring the whole culture,
yes,
all this aspect of rape, child labor, even it will reduce.
Of course.
Because if I see my neighbor's child out there hawking, maybe the neighbor is even ignorant. Yes. I will come closer. That mama, you look at this child, that the child is still yes. The advocate, the NGOs that are outside, they should come out and talk to the public. The government is trying its own best, but it's not enough. Yeah, it's not enough. We need people. We need organization. We need institutions to pop up and then support the government, and then with the family we'll move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you made mention of living as one and all of that. I was also coming to internally displaced persons, because if you watch very closely, if you want to do a little census on the people, most people doing this hawking, if you meet them one-on-one and ask them, who sent you to hawk? You hardly hear them say, it's my mother.
My aunt.
It's always my aunt or my uncle's wife, or those kind of things. Whereas their own children are at home, resting, and others are out there being labored. They come back home, maybe they still have to get into the kitchen with this aunt or this uncle's wife and cook. So parents should treat these children equally. I always say, if you take a child to live with, you should treat that child as yours, because that child did not call you out of your home to take them. You did it out of your love and compassion and out of even empathy for that child, and maybe they are home and all of that. But then you bringing the child into your own house and giving the child more psychological trauma that leads. You know, when children get tortured psychologically, it leads them astray. Some of them don't even think anymore. They just want to do what they can see. You see, they start getting into drug abuse and all of that. So parents, guardians should be really watchful of their children. I'm looking at a situation where a child leaves home. Maybe you give a child, let me just take the season we are in, groundnuts, and the child has to go. Maybe you give the person groundnuts for maybe 10,000 francs, and in the course of selling the money gets missing.
Oh no.
That
child is
I
gone.
had an experience with a child. I was traveling from Douala one day. It was around 8 p.m. Little girl of maybe that child maybe at most 12 years old, and she was there at my 17 park. Just imagine the danger at my 17 park. Those park guys, juveniles and all of that. The child could not go back home. She came and stood in front of the bus. She was crying. Everyone was wondering, what is happening? What is this child? She could not go. I thought that she said she's not living there with her mom.
Where?
So that even adds to the trouble, because even if it's your mom, your mother is going to understand, no matter how mad she is.
Exactly.
She understand that it is something that can happen. But you living with someone else, an aunt, and then you've sold everything, you
Money
don't have
gets
the
missing.
money. So
That's
this also
terrible.
leads children to abuse, labor. They get traumatized. They can do anything at that moment
At
to
that
get
point,
that
get
money.
that
To
money,
get home. Like we were talking about rape or sexual violation. Even I'm the one, I'll never go and say anything in the house, because it's even going to add to their stress. I thought I've beaten you for misplacing money, they'll beat you for doing other things, and the circle just goes round.
continues.
So how can we as individuals, how can you as Madam Yuven, what are you doing to ensure that in your own little way you can try to prevent child labor to any child in the society?
Yes, we are currently in the summer holidays, and the Center for Human Rights Research and Advocacy for Sustainable Development, we are planning to commence some skill development activities from the month of July in Motengene and Buea, particularly in Bonduma, to see how we can bring together some of these children to teach them beneficial skills in art and craft, in designing, in beat making and all of that. This is going to help them in one way or the other to, along the way, discover their skills and potentials. And by doing that, we are helping to reduce child labor in our communities. Now, the effect is that we should see how we work as an organization to protect these children, and also to ensure a peaceful transition from the holidays into the new academic year. And again, we work as an advocacy organization. And so therefore, this issue of child labor, it's actually a call for concern, and we need to work together as advocates to see how civil society organizations, including you, the journalists, teachers, community members, how we can come together to develop an advocacy action document and present to the various ministries. Because if we have strong laws, parents will not allow their children to walk around anyhow.
Of course.
Yes, the labor code is there. What are we doing about it? We pay a lot of attention to the labor code. Even at the level of protecting employees' rights, we make sure that we do it to the best.
Okay.
And so therefore, it is very important that we come out with these advocacy tools or advocacy documents to see how, maybe we work together, or even work together with the various ministries. She's from the Ministry of Social Affairs, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
We have the law enforcement officers. At least if we make it in such a way that by 6 o'clock, if your child is seen out, maybe they just take that child first of all to the police station and keep the child there. And then when you come, you have serious questions to answer.
Of course.
You get the point?
Yes,
You
absolutely,
have
madam.
serious questions to answer. So this is something that we as civil society organizations, we have to think about. Our children are going astray every day. Our children are exposed to a lot of risks and danger. So we should come out with something. In fact, TRASDA, the Center for Human Rights, is already working on that. We are going to do it, and we are going to share with the respective police stations. We have most of them doing controls around the town. They see your child out after 6 o'clock. They will just take your child and keep somewhere. It is for the child's protection. Then you, the parents of that child, you come and explain why your child should be out at 6 o'clock. What kind of money are you working? What kind of money are you looking for? Is it that money that will make you to get rich?
Exactly.
Or was it that child that was supposed to come at that tender age to make you to get rich? Why not put your children in those opportunities that they will grow maturely in it?
Long term,
In the long term, the long term impact.
Exactly.
You know, it will be beneficial to you, the mother, to the community.
And you keep your child away, it even keeps the
And you
child
save your
busy.
child or
the
children
child
from a
from
lot
a
of
lot.
nonsense.
Exactly, madam, as you're
Eh?
saying. Exactly.
Honestly, it's annoying.
Exactly.
It is
exactly.
annoying because you see a child even at 7 years, auntie, plum and granuts,
Please buy.
please
I'm
buy.
begging you to
Auntie,
buy.
please.
And then sometimes
Samoto for 100.
my sister,
That's it.
Mutengene market, Limbe market, all kind market to see
And
those
it
children.
exposes children to a lot of
A
health
lot.
risks.
So
In fact,
much.
in
Because
fact,
everything that
it is a call to action. It is a
Exactly.
call to action, and we really need to work together to do something.
Exactly.
Definitely.
We need to do something.
Adding to what you are saying, madam, during school hours, during school period like that, if the council, this council at OIC, they seize any child in the market, they hold the child.
That is it. Those
Go
are
and
the
show-
stakeholders we are
Go
talking
and
about.
show our mothers. Go and show your mother.
Look,
That is what they do. But
honestly
during
speaking,
these holidays, I don't know if they will still implement that method, because during
They
school
have to.
hours, they enter the market, and any child that is of school going age and is selling or hawking in the market,
Please,
they hold you. They say go and
permit
show your
me.
mother.
There was
Immediately you
a
show
day-
the mother.
there
they
is
say-
one. I don't know if whether he's a pastor or whatever. This man carries a set of this
a speaker with the children, exactly, two children, a
Small,
little
small.
girl and
I
a
mean,
those are beggars.
small.
That is a kind of begging.
Yeah.
Is it even begging,
It's
my dear
begging.
sister?
It's begging.
It is
When you are going to Muya market, you
direct.
see them there.
It's begging.
He plays the music and stands somewhere and is
And they
dancing
dance
with
with
the
the
children.
children.
You want to come to OIC market, you see them
You
there.
find him.
Dance
You are
with
going
the
to
wife also.
Mutengene, you see them there. You go to Limbe, they are there. One day I went to the market at OIC market. I think it was about the third time I'm seeing this man. And I've even entered the public transport with him. So the first time I met him, I was like, maybe he's from a ministry,
Yes,
pastoral work or
ministry,
evangelism.
yes.
The second time I saw him in the market. And then the third time he had played music and the child was dancing. The child was holding a small basket.
A little round girl like that.
Little round, bulky, beautiful child.
Beautiful. That girl can
And
dance.
now what are you instilling
In
or
that
what
child.
is he instilling
In that.
in that child at that tender age?
Hey, you can dance and they'll give
And
you
now I was not in my very good mood on that particular day. But I promised myself that if I see that man again, I will take my time and I school him, and then I'll tell him that if I see you and your child or children in the market, the next time you'll be in trouble. Why not? It's better you even say, okay, you meet some few people, Papa, Mama, I beg, help me, even if it's 10,000, let me start a business.
Of course. That's
There
far
are
better.
people who still have that compassion.
Most of
There
them
are
have
people.
even received.
You understand?
and
Of
then
course,
they
What is a
pretend
10,000
to
francs
treat
that you somebody will ask you for 10,000 and you don't give?
Some people
It's
just
better than
prefer
moving
saying
around with your children to expose them to danger.
A
Exactly.
lot.
When I say that, I say people have insulted Christianity.
Exactly.
You understand? This is not Christianity. They are insulting the body of Christ. They are insulting churches. They are insulting religious
Humanity.
leaders. They are insulting everybody.
Exactly.
Religion was not meant for people to be suffering or moving around as begging.
The funniest thing is that the man is healthy. The wife is also
I was
healthy.
in fact,
And
I was
they can
angry
do
about
something.
it.
They can
Most
walk.
often-
They can walk.
He can
That
walk.
is,
can
that is
sell.
why, from my background as a Muslim, our religion prohibits begging.
Okay.
Because they believe that even if you're disabled or maybe you have a situation where you cannot walk, at least you can do something.
You can sit somewhere and do
There's one
something.
man I've been spotting, he's a Muslim. Often he will sit maybe in front of the university
Yeah,
with
yeah,
a
yeah.
small bowl.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
begging. But the mindset is that if he could put even tomatoes or cola, they will buy.
That is
Where
it.
he's sitting,
People
people buy.
People buy.
So at some point, these people's mindset already limits them.
Them, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, they just know that they have this misconception that
Yeah.
As
with
I'm
my
disabled,
condition,
I can
people
Which
are going-
condition now? They
That
say
is what they tell me.
disability is not
Never
inability.
inability. Your
Disability is not
cannot-
inability.
Of course.
Your disability cannot, as long as you are
Mentally stable.
as long as you are mentally stable,
You can do something. You can
even
do
if they
something.
have kept your legs or your hands,
You can.
it is about the mindset.
The thing
about
is,
the
It is not
mindset.
about the hands that we have.
Okay.
As I
Most
said
people-
before, is the
it's
home
terrible.
environment that instill that negative attitude on the person. If we start at home, we empathize with them. We don't sympathize with them. We put ourselves in their shoes, and we know that you tell them that you can do it, push it, force it, you will make it. When you put them in that situation, when they go out in the community, they will burst out. They will have talents that they can present, that they will not beg. If you see a person with disability begging, it means that he still have that old mindset.
Of course, because
Even
nowadays
people with hands that are strong, that one day I went to the market, a boy was telling me that, sister, please for 100. He was well dressed. I said, I should give you 100.
My 17, you have
I said, you have more
plenty of them there.
So the shoes I was wearing my 2 slippers. He's begging me for 100 francs. I said, those are your friends pushing truck in the market, earning money and building houses.
We sat somewhere and a gentleman came, well dressed, clean, and he came, please for food.
Subhanallah.
And we asked him, why are you begging for food? Don't you have hands that you can walk?
Exactly.
Don't you have legs that can take you somewhere? I was seated with a guy. He's what do they call? He's an engineer, and he said, okay, a contractor. He said, okay, I have work in my chantier, and I pay people on a daily basis at 5,000 francs. That is what I can offer you, not a plate of food. Because immediately you give him that plate of food, he leaves and goes to another bar, another restaurant, another gathering,
a bottle of beer.
Please for food.
Balance diet.
Please for food. You have a chunk of them in my 17. You have a good, when you're traveling, they will come. I'm from the prison. Yam has gone up, yam has come down. This one has happened, this one has happened.
Those are beggars.
Okay.
So,
please,
it's terrible.
Okay, let's.
It's terrible.
But please, madam, before I go back to the finishing part, I would like to say something, especially to these parents having children with disabilities. Like at the school where I teach, St. Rita Foundation, there's this vocational training we give out for our children with special needs. When we have our lessons after break, we do vocational training. So if you can take your child and engage them in recreational activities,
Definitely.
and not focus on the burdens that you think you have because of that child, then you would see that these children are excelling to a point where other people will be amazed. Wow, this child is autistic, but he does the how do I call it, the kneading so well, because we do these Bamenda dresses in our school at St. Rita Foundation. We have some of our learners whom I can see they will challenge you. They do it explicitly well. Why? They have exploited those talents that they have. But now, if you keep these children to the fact that these children don't know anything, you don't exploit those things that they have in them, then you're killing a potential
In them.
fashionist, you're killing a potential president somewhere, someday. But please, I'm calling out to every parent. Now it's holiday period. Let's not send these children out. Rather, let's engage them in one activity or the other that can yield profits for us at home and for that child in particular.
Thank you very much, Nafisato. We are running out of time, so for time's sake, we're going to end the program here, but definitely we're going to continue on another edition next week. We could still come back on set and talk on these very predominant issues affecting the society. I want to say a big thank you to all our viewers out there for being part of the program, and of course to our incredible panelists. Thank you so much, Madam Yuven Julia. Thank you so much, Madam Dione Sylvie, and of course, beautiful Nafisatu. Thank you so much for being part of the program. Thank you all for sharing your insights with us. So, what to our parents out there, to the women, to the mothers out there, get your children involved in activities that are skillfully to gain. They can gain them skillfully. Vocational activities. Invest in your children rather than send them out to be labored and then you spend more money when they get sick or when they get into some sort of trouble. Invest in your children. Let them learn skills as young as they are. We have several organizations organizing several things that are going to be impactful for your children. So we hope this message we are passing out is getting to you out there, We are fighting against child labor. We are looking on ways of ending child labor. Join us. Let's try in our own way to prevent child labor. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being very keen. I've been Magdalene Wondo. Stay tuned to Divine Mercy Radio Television and keep the rendezvous next week. Have a good evening.